Siege of Ranthambore, 1301. At the dawn of the 14th century, Alauddin Khalji stood as the most ambitious ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. After subduing Gujarat and Malwa, he set his sights on Rajasthan, the land of towering forts and fiercely independent Rajput clans. Among these strongholds, none were more formidable than Ranthambore, a massive hill fortress rising above steep cliffs and defended by Hammiradeva, the Jauhar ruler. Ranthambore had not only its own Rajput warriors, but also provided refuge to Mongol rebels who had fled Delhi. For Alauddin, this was intolerable. The fort symbolized defiance, and its Mongol inhabitants threatened to ally with Hammiradeva. Thus, the Siege of Ranthambore in 1301 became not just a conquest, but a statement of power. Alauddin Khalji's first move was not direct assault, but pressure. He sent his generals, Ulugh Khan and Nusrat Khan, to probe the fortress and exhaust the defenders. Ulugh Khan advanced to the Banas River, where Hammiradeva's general Bhimasema met him in open battle. The Delhi army cleverly exploited Rajput overconfidence. Bhimasema's troops charged recklessly into the Sultanate formation, only to be trapped in a counter-maneuver. The result was a disastrous defeat for the Rajputs, an early warning that Alauddin's forces were not to be underestimated. Yet the Rajputs were not broken. Reinforced by Mongol warriors, Hammiradeva reorganized his defenses and turned Hinduvata Pass into a death trap. Here, the Rajputs demonstrated their mastery of guerrilla-style mountain warfare. They used the terrain, narrow pathways, hidden slopes, and surprise charges to ambush Ulugh Khan's army. What looked like a routine advance for the Sultanate quickly became a massacre. Horses stumbled on rocky inclines, archers rained arrows from concealed ridges, and Rajput swordsmen charged down with ferocity. Ulugh Khan's army was routed, sending shockwaves through Delhi's ranks. Alauddin responded with escalation. Nusrat Khan, his trusted commander, brought reinforcements and advanced on Ranthambore. This time, siege warfare began in earnest. Heavy stone-throwing machines, called manjaniks, were rolled forward to bombard the fort. But fate struck unexpectedly. A massive boulder hurled by the defender's engine crashed down on Nusrat Khan himself, killing him instantly. His death was not only a tactical loss, but a psychological blow. The Rajputs seized the moment, launching a daring sortie that drove Ulugh Khan's forces back from the fortress gates. Realizing that half measures would never succeed, Alauddin Khalji decided to take charge personally. He gathered his forces from across his empire and marched toward Ranthambore. The Sultan knew brute force alone could not bring down a fortress perched high on a hill with walls stretching across ridges and gorges. Instead, he turned to methodical strategy and siegecraft. At Ranthambore, the Delhi army began constructing a massive Pasheb, or siege ramp. Thousands of laborers, many conscripted villagers, worked day and night, hauling earth, stones, and timber to build an inclined causeway reaching the fortress walls. Slowly, the gap between attackers and defenders narrowed. At the same time, Alauddin deployed Maghrabi siege engines, advanced catapults, modeled after designs from the Middle East. These colossal machines pounded the walls day and night, sending stones crashing into towers and ramparts. Inside the fort, Hammiradeva and his people fought back with equal ingenuity. Defenders hurled flaming projectiles, rolled boulders down the ramp, and even launched counter-mining operations to collapse enemy tunnels. Oil and resin were poured into the breaches, igniting deadly fires among the attackers. For every measure Alauddin devised, the Rajputs answered with countermeasures. But time itself became a weapon. As the siege dragged on for weeks and months, supplies inside the fortress dwindled. Famine took hold. Chronicles describe Ranthambore as a place where gold lost its value, grain was rarer than treasure, and people starved as the siege tightened. Horses died of hunger, warriors fought weakened, and civilians faced the agony of thirst and despair. To make matters worse for Hammiradeva, betrayal struck within. His generals Ratapala and Ranamala, perhaps lured by promises of wealth and status, defected to Alauddin's side. Their departure crippled morale and gave the Sultan valuable intelligence about the fort's defenses. What had once been a unified front of defiance now stood fractured. Still, the Rajputs chose honor over surrender. Hammiradeva, embodying the warrior's code, resolved to die fighting rather than live in humiliation. In early July 1301, he led his men in a last, desperate charge against the besiegers. The gates of Ranthambore opened one final time, and Rajput warriors stormed out, swords flashing, determined to meet death in battle. Surrounded and outnumbered, they fell one by one, but not before inflicting fierce losses on the Sultanate forces. Within the fort, the women of Ranthambore embraced the Rajput tradition of Jauhar. In a harrowing scene, Hammiradeva's queens, daughters, and the women of the court sacrificed themselves in flames, choosing death over the dishonor of capture. The fortress burned with both fire and grief, even as the defenders fought to their last breath. On July 10, 1301, Ranthambore fell. Alauddin Khalji emerged victorious, appointing Ulugh Khan as governor. But the price of victory was steep: months of relentless warfare, countless lives lost, and a fortress reduced to famine and ruin. The Siege of Ranthambore marked a turning point in Alauddin's expansion. It demonstrated not only his ruthlessness, but also the power of siegecraft and psychological warfare. For the Rajputs, it was a tragedy etched into memory, a tale of honor, resistance, and sacrifice against overwhelming odds. The story of Ranthambore endures not just as a military episode, but as a testament to the clash of ambition and honor, strategy and defiance, power and sacrifice in medieval India. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic tales. And as always, thank you for watching.